Wow, a Scream 7 update that doesn't make me want to rip my eyeballs out of my actual skull. Jake's actually happy about this one. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, I'm KillJoy Jake, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. A few little straggler updates for Scream 7 have hit us this past week, like Ethan Embry joining the cast. He's from one of my all-time favorite movies, That Thing You Do with Tom Hanks. If you haven't seen it, not a horror movie, but it is about 60s music culture, and I highly recommend it, especially if you're someone like me whose favorite band is the Beatles. Yeah, it's a normie take, but it's the correct one. Name another band that hits on that many genres, dog. Okay, I guess there is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, but they're also good too. Back to Scream though, there's also a rumor floating around right now that Lynn McCree, who of course plays Sydney's mom, Maureen Prescott, and Skeet Ulrich, Billy Loomis, come on now, are both returning for the 7th entry, just have yet to be announced. Now if this is the case, that's just more confirmation that yeah, they're totally doing the flashback scene with all of these returning legacy characters, which is something we already talked about in our previous Scream 7 update video. Check it out, like up here, it's gonna pop down, like right there. Go ahead, click on it if you didn't see it there, Buster Brown. Now, it's no secret that I haven't been thrilled about the most recent updates for the next installment in everyone's favorite meta horror slasher franchise. But today we have something to talk about that may seem redundant at first, but might just be the most hopeful update we've gotten in a while. Attending the premiere for Hard Eyes this past Tuesday, Scream 7 star Mason Gooding had some really interesting things to say about the next Ghostface massacre. Gooding claims that this new Ghostface is the most brutal the slasher has ever been, even saying it feels like an amplification of what's come before, and there's no better indication of that than Kevin Williamson, who wrote the original, coming back now to direct. I think that Ghostface is absolutely the most brutal he's been. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's some stuff that they do to the human body that I feel like Kevin is breaking new ground with. This echoes his previous statement on Scream 7 that he literally just gave to the I've Never Said This Before podcast hosted by Tommy DiDario.
It's the most brutal I think Ghostface has been from a anatomically logistical standpoint.
Now, some of the wonderful folks watching this video who have been here since the Scream 6 days may be feeling a bit of deja vu. I did a very similar Scream 6 video talking about some comments that Jenna Ortega made about that sequel. Jenna Ortega gave a similar response talking about Scream 6 a little bit before it arrived in theaters, pushing the idea of a very brutal Ghostface in the next entry. Now, with most horror movies, you tend to hear this a lot. Many will claim that this one pushes boundaries, it's the scariest thing you've ever seen, when in reality it's likely super similar to the same level of something else you've already seen before. With a franchise though, I think the biggest thing about a sequel is you're always comparing it to what came before, not necessarily any other horror sequels out there. Screams 4, 5, and 6 were in a really unique position because there really hadn't been that many super brutal and over-the-top Ghostface kills before. The first 3 Scream films aren't nearly as focused on brutal deaths as much as other horror franchises or the modern sequels. The whole point there was to build up protagonists, something that most slasher films just don't care to do. It was that innovation, on top of many other things, that made Scream so immediately beloved. It's the reason why many fans are very excited for Scream 7, maybe even more so than the last 2 films. There's potential for Scream 7 to actually be focused on Sydney Prescott again, not just have her as third act backup where she shoots through some doors. Are they actually going to do that like how they've claimed, or will they be putting the focus on Sydney's daughter? Well, that's yet to be seen. With all of that being said, one of the many points to even doing a sequel in the first place is not just to continue the story, but also explore different elements that maybe the original film wasn't able to get into. One of the most successful things the most recent Scream movies do is incorporate more brutal kills. Minus the opening scene of the original Scream, there just aren't that many Ghostface kills that feel menacing in the original trilogy. The tension is the draw to a good Ghostface attack scene, but it rarely has an explosive finish. Okay, CeCe Cooper's death in Scream 2 is pretty good though. Even a Terrifier fan like myself can still get into something like that. But let's face it, Screams 4, 5, and 6 all have at least one kill that tops nearly everything that came before it. Ghostface gives Olivia Morris a new paint job in her room with the crazy amount of blood and organs that fly around. Wes Hicks gets the slowest and most painful looking death in the series with this excellent mix of practical and VFX. And finally, Annika Kayoko hits that dumpster so hard in Scream 6, I nearly jumped out of my chair the first time time I saw it. There's no denying that Ghostface is at their most brutal, even if we haven't gotten a great chase scene in the last couple of flicks. This new quote from Mason here could mean that the Ghostface attack sequences in Scream 7 could be a best of both worlds scenario. Think about an elaborate chase sequence, something that calls back to the original 3 Scream movies. A new victim could be chased through a sick new environment we've never seen Ghostface hunt somebody down through, and then it of course ends with the bloodiest, goriest kill that any slasher fan could possibly want. Hearing that Kevin Williamson is potentially breaking new ground and testing the limits of the human body has me very excited to see both of these crucial elements get jam-packed together for this new sequel. Even though Sick from the top of 2023 frustrated me so much with its inaccuracy to a pandemic that literally just happened, I found the strongest elements of that film to be the chase scenes. I'm just speculating here, but those had to be Kevin's ideas, right? Easily the best part of that flick is when our final girl must cross a lake on this tiny raft that the killer tries to stab her through. It's like if a typical Scream chase scene met the raft short from Creepshow 2, it rocks. You could cut the tension in that scene with a knife, sorry about the bad dad joke. If Scream 7 is trying to be the 90s throwback film that I think it's trying to be, I'm not really sure with some of these most recent updates, that would be a really inventive and fresh way to take it down. Like, you're not just doing the exact same things as Scream 1 through 3, you're taking those elements and modernizing them in a good way. If Ghostface gets his most brutal kill in Scream 7, it'll absolutely put this film on the map, and maybe make up for some of the areas where it will likely fall flat. Since we're doing a Scream 7 update with a slightly more positive demeanor, I thought we'd end this one on a good note. I think no matter what happens with Scream 7, hopefully the film still feels like a continuation to this specific series. There is a world where we get the best elements of the original 3 Scream movies and the best elements of Screams 4, 5, and 6, which are 2 very different periods for this one series, even though it is continuing one long story. Even if it doesn't carry all of the best idiosyncrasies of this franchise with it into this new installment, it can still be a really good slasher starring Ghostface. So if there's potential for Ghostface to get one of his craziest kills in the entire series, I'll take that positive. I will take that W all day. Scream 7 needs as many of those as it can at this point. I'm still excited for Scream 7, warts and all, and there are warts. Let's be real here. Hey everybody, before we wrap this one up, please make sure to like this video and subscribe for more horror movie updates just like this. I would greatly appreciate it as we're just about to hit 30,000 subscribers. Thank you to everyone who has supported this channel in any sort of way. What do you guys think are the chances that Ghostface scores his most brutal kill yet in Scream 7? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you all again for watching, please subscribe, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.